I'm so excited. Thank you so much for coming on the show and making the drive down. I know we tried to do this a couple times, so yes. Thank you again.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. So, so far, I've only done like 10 episodes so far, right? Mm-hmm. But the first question I've always asked is, what is your go-to camera? And then what is your go-to lens? Like whenever you're at like a run and gun shoot or you want to take a picture, what do you grab and go to first?
My go-to camera is my Nikon. I have a Nikon 810.
A Nikon? You're the first Nikon I've had on the show.
Yes, and I do not negotiate. I shoot with the Nikon 810, and my go-to lens is the it's 105.
105?
Yes. 1.4. Yes, that's why I have a big studio.
A 105?
Yeah.
How did you get to that number? Like, why that lens?
I was just, I didn't go to school for this, but then I was Googling like what people were saying about lenses at some point, and then eventually somebody mentioned the 105, mm-hmm. and I think somebody was telling me, because I was shooting outdoor and I wanted like nice bokeh, and people were saying you should get like a bigger lens to get you those effects. So when I saw the 105, it was expensive, but I did get it, and I just love the way it captures everything. Yeah. So even at the studio, unless you come with a large family, I will not switch it.
Is there like a secondary lens that you would have in case you have more than one person?
Yeah, I have a 50. I have a 50 and a 28, I think.
Look how disappointed you sound. I have a 50. I also have a 50. But it's crazy. I've never heard, like, especially because you do portraits too.
Yeah.
So you're like 10 miles away shooting the photo.
If I come here, then I'm like, okay, I'll work with the 50. But if I don't have to, I'm not bringing out the 50. It's going to be 105.
105 every time.
Yeah.
I love it. And so how would you describe your photography?
I cannot say I'm still finding my style. I like storytelling. I like editorial works. Yeah. I'm still exploring, I would say. But I like to capture people and their natural element. Like, I don't like posing people. Mm-hmm. If I feel like I have to, then I'll get to it. But most likely, I will try to maybe talk to you, get you to laugh, capture that. Or when you're doing something like you're not paying attention, then that's when I like to capture. But my thing is I like concepts also. I like to create.
You're huge in concept. So One of the things I love about you, like I love when you're posting your reels and then you post like how you build your sets, right?
Yes.
And so one that comes to mind is it was a black and white with black tape. Mm-hmm. And then you taped the floors and you taped the walls and you bought the 2 panels. And I'm watching the reel like, how do you even think about...
I ran out of ideas. Because I ran out of ideas. Somebody wanted something different and I didn't know what to give them. So as I'm standing there, I see the tape. I'm like, okay, we're going to tape the studio.
And that's literally what, like I said, because you posted the video of it and you're on the floor and you're on the walls and I'm in my head, I'm like, she's the most creative person I've ever seen.
I didn't know what to do. And I didn't want to tell her that, I couldn't find a concept, because sometimes it takes so much money mm-hmm. to actually do it. And that day was kind of like, okay, I don't have time to go shop. So it's easier for me to just try to find something in the studio. And then I saw the tape. So I was like, okay, that's cheap. Let's go tape up the studio.
Yeah, and then the pictures came out super dope.
Yes, people loved it.
No, that's the one that just comes to mind. Another one you did too is... And so I actually have a question about your studio, because mm-hmm. you have solid colors. Are those panels that you use or?
No, they're built-in walls. Like when I got it, it was like a car shop. And at first it was kind of like, okay, I couldn't use it like that. It was nice, but it was just like one big, space. Exactly. So we built several different walls. We've debated whether we were gonna keep it open or section it. I wanted to section it, and at some point my husband was like, okay, no, it's best if we keep it open, because then we could use the whole space. And in my lens, it has to be open for my lens.
100%, because you're all the way across the studio.
If I put panels, I can't shoot.
And you use walkie-talkie to talk to the client, right? Like, okay, turn your head to the right.
So that's why we just built walls all around the edges, and then different colors, like the white room, the black and gold. And we started with, I think, the cyc wall, the black and gold, and the white room. And then after that, I wanted a cement wall, and I wanted there's this one that we call Okap wall, because this is where I'm from, but people think that it's from South America. It's colorful. Mm-hmm. And then I also built another room with a window, because You don't have what you have.
A big window?
Yeah, no, it's a little window that I put a flash behind it.
Oh, you built the window?
I built a window inside the warehouse. So
I need to go visit. I want to shoot at your location.
You should stop by.
I will stop by now. Okay, so one of the biggest issues for me is being able to use the same space in different ways, right? Like I'm here all the time, and so I feel like sometimes where I want to be more creative, but I don't want to do the same things all the time, right? Mm-hmm. And so I don't feel like you have that issue, because every time I see your stuff, it's always like something new and a different.
Do.
Yeah,
I do have the issue, and that's why you see something new, because I get bored. But then it costs. I can't move stuff around, so I can't, repaint because I want to. Not to mention that I rent it out, and people, like when I feel like I'm tired of the black and gold wall, people are still coming for the black and gold wall.
Right.
And the white room, what I call it, it's kind of like almost, it's basic, but it's for shops, for boutique, who do not want a whole lot of things, it's necessary.
Right.
So, and everything else, if I have to switch it up, I would have to pay. So there was a time when I was so bored of the studio, I started using all the colored backdrop and just building set on them, making them look different. So that was one of the time that I was bored. But yeah, I get bored easily.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel sometimes like I'm creating, if it's not like a client who wants something specific and I'm creating for myself, not that I get bored, but sometimes I get upset with myself that I'm not more creative, right? Like I'm not doing enough. Do you ever feel that way? Or are you always just busy working? And
No, I do. And sometimes I go through periods when I don't, like right now, I think I'm at a dry period where I'm not posting as much, because not only I haven't had time to produce a lot of content, but at the same time, it's kind of like, it's the same thing. I don't want to put out the same images.
Right.
So, and with you, what I've seen with your work is that you work with a lot of models, it seems, that who knows how to pose, and
it makes it a little easier.
Exactly. And sometimes I'm shooting friends and families, and they're, different people who do not know how to pose. And as much as I've been in the business, I can't really, if I give you something editorial, I count on a model who knows how to pose, for that set. It's not like I can tell you exactly, this is how to pose exactly. So I'm still learning that.
Yeah, it seems like you look like your craft, and it's perfect. Like your color's always perfect, your exposures are perfect, your retouching is perfect. And that's something that I see, like, your work is very editorial, but even if it isn't somebody who's like a professional model, it's just, even someone who isn't a model at all. Like, I think you posted somebody, was it yesterday, or a gentleman, and it was I could tell it was a candid shot, but it looked perfect. Like it was just a perfectly taken shot. How did you get started in all this? And
how? It took a while. I gave birth in 2011, and then my first shoot, my daughter's first shoot, they came to the house, and I wanted all the photos, and it was $500. Okay. So I was like, okay, no, I can't keep paying that. So I bought a DSLR.
Okay.
I was not going to be a professional photographer just for that. It was just kind of like, okay, let's take pictures. So I kept on taking pictures. People kept on encouraging me to do it. I just didn't feel like it was the right time, or that I would be good, because when you're looking at photographers and you see lights and gadgets and all those things that they're coming with, I didn't know it. So I felt like I needed to go to school for it, and this is not what I went to school for. So fast forward, with my third child, that was in 2008, and I was pregnant, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna do my own maternity shoot. Yeah. And I bought like a backdrop and a stand. I set it up at the house, and then I felt like I had a professional studio there. It was wrinkled, it was really bad. But anyways, I was like, oh, look at this. So then I was, I think, 6 months pregnant when I said, oh, I'm a professional photographer now. But I didn't know anything about it.
Yeah, that's usually how everyone starts, no? Like, we're just shooting ourselves and shooting our friends.
So that's why, and every time I ask a photographer, I'm like, how long have you been doing this? They're like, professionally? So it's always a professional. Yeah, professionally 4 years, but I've been playing with my camera for a long time. But I can say, when I declared myself a professional photographer, I didn't really know much about it, because I didn't know lighting. Mm-hmm. I didn't know, posing and all of those things. Like, okay, my first shoot, when I got booked, I went to a park. I went with all the umbrellas that I bought. It was 5 o'clock, but it was bright. It was sunny. So I was out there with different umbrella lights, flashes, and everything. And the wind was blowing everything.
The umbrellas were flying everywhere.
So I was there with my friend. So, and then I looked and I saw photographers were just working with their cameras. So I was like, oh, that's all you need. It's your camera.
You don't need a bunch of strobe. And...
So it wasn't even like those. It was just your little umbrella stuff.
Yeah.
So then I was like, okay, you know what? We're just going to try with the camera because it was sunny. There was nothing was happening. And they were like basic flash, not the strobe, like camera flashes.
Yeah.
So, and then we tried with just the strobes, with just the camera. And that was the first step in the right direction until I got bored of the park and I wanted to do more. Like I didn't want just the trees and the beautiful background. So I started bringing vanities to the park. I started bringing like a bunch of different props because I feel like some of my customers, when you give them props, it's easier for them to give you a natural shot. If you give them like a vintage phone, they'll act like they're on a phone, start smiling and laughing. So that was good. Mm-hmm.
How did you, it took me a while to understand the power of props. Like for the longest time, I would just like stand here and then I'm going to take photos of you, right? How did you adapt props so quickly? Like what was it that made you say, look, this is working well for me when it comes to my photos?
Because a friend of mine asked me what kind of photographer I would want to be. And at the time, I know there are different kinds as far as, whether you're a wedding photographer or, animals only or real estate and all of that. But then when I chose to go more portrait, then there was like, okay, you have different kinds of portraits. So you can do maternities, newborns, like all of these different ones. And she shared a page with me. There was a photographer named Lexan Art. Now and he's a Jamaican photographer. Mm-hmm. He does more like storytelling. So, and that's where my props came in. Because even I love this page and I wanted to have my own style. But of course, if I'm going to try to tell a story, I need props. I need something that would go with whatever story I'm trying to, convey. So that was one of it. And then also it was just out of boredom. Like I would pick whatever I find at the house, like an old door. I bring it to the park. Hey, let's do this. A lot of people were like, well, this do not belong in the park. This shoot shouldn't happen in the park. It's really house material. I was like, well, it's photography.
Right.
No, and it's art.
Right.
You can do it wherever. And then maybe because it's out of place, that's what's going to get people talking.
100%.
So
what do you think is like the most interesting shoot you've done? Mm-hmm. Like what's the most interesting one you've done? Like the most out of pocket prop location combination that you've come up with?
I was just talking about that yesterday to a friend. I think there has been a couple, but one of, how do I explain this? The term is a Haitian term. Like we call it, it's the iron back that, you put coal in. Okay. So back in my hometown, we call it kawu. Okay. And I wanted to shoot that because you don't see this here. I don't even know if you've ever seen one, but it's kind of like,
describe it for me.
It's an iron, but they've used it here too, but back in the days. So when you don't have electricity, you put coal in it, it gets hot, so you iron your clothes. Yeah. But then again, your clothes may get burned because there's
coals inside.
Exactly. So I've used it a couple of times because back in Haiti you don't have 24-hour electricity, power. So, and I wanted to showcase that because we don't see it. So I had to take ironing boards, like an iron board, and then I have to take clothing racks, different stuff to the park. And it was just like I'm trying to go in there without being noticed, but then my friend calls the security guard.
Your friend calls?
To help us.
Oh, okay.
It was kind of, can you help us? And it's like, what are you doing with all of this in the park? Like, because you can't really, why you have an ironing board right in the middle of the, a park? So
is this the same park you brought the door to? Mm-hmm. So they recognize you already. They know that
that was before the door. Like I bought tea sets and everything to the park, but after that I got more comfortable. That was like one of the very first shoot, and even when I was shooting it, I was like, oh, this is so stupid. Like I should have listened to my mom. She said we're not supposed to come to a park, but people loved it. Mm-hmm. It was, and then we bought coal, but we didn't have the Haitian coal, so we have to get the coal that you use at barbecue and try to turn on we have to kind of ignite it in the park and We were afraid that we were going to cause, a bigger scene.
Burn the plug down.
I don't want to say that. So
they're not gonna let you back at the park after this interview.
Yeah, no, I stopped. There were a couple of shoots I did at the park, like the smoke bombs. That was another one that I was afraid of, but but yeah, it went well. I mean, you didn't hear about me in the news. So.
No, like not as of yet. I'm gonna Google it real quick to see what's the name of the park again, so I know. That's crazy. And then I love that. When they come up with a concept like that, is it something that you and the client discuss a lot, or were the ideas that you've had in your head and you're like, yo, let's do this?
No, yeah, that was mine. I do my own shoots sometimes, and when clients call me, then we can talk about their shoots. But a lot of the shoots that I've done, like my concept, especially if they're crazy, I would rather choose.
If they're crazy.
I would rather choose someone that I am like. It's not even closer to, but like a model who knows, like we explain the concept to them. Because I don't like, I wouldn't want someone to pay for a shoot, but not like the idea that I'm putting out. So sometimes it's kind of like, it's my own thing. Everything comes from me and the stylist and the team that we're working with. I don't pick the models a lot, but the stylist would sometimes find models that, and let them know, okay, this is what we're doing. Do you want to collaborate on this one with us? So every now and then we have those shoots.
Right. I love how you brought up a team. Sometimes I feel like people, they see a final product and they see the image or the video, whatever the case is, but they don't know the amount of people that it took to make that come to fruition. And I think that's something where when it comes to pricing our services, that like I give a rate and they'll be like, that's so expensive for just photos. I'm like, it's not just photos. You're having a makeup artist, you have a designer, you have a location, you have someone to hold lights when it's windy. Like there's so many things that are part of it all. Do you ever have that issue, or do you ever? That
is one that we're facing right now, because a lot of those shoots that you've seen, and people are like, oh, you're so creative, and they're creatives. And I have a section on my website where I put up that, I would put creative shoots because it can't be my normal price. Right. But I have yet to finish that section because I know people will probably start, we'll be looking at the price. But we've had shoots when the stylist had to go at Home Depot and buy plants and then return them, or getting clothes. It's not just the media, like it's everyone. And I can't do it by myself because I don't like shopping for clothes. And if I do shop for them, I don't return them. So that's another cost. Right. So we've had shoots where we need to do hair, makeup, and those could be one or two people, stylists, and think about it. In a sense, me being the photographer and the creative director, a lot of photographers have their own creative directors, right. Not and set designer. Right. So technically, in some shoots, you would be paying for not only a set designer, a creative director, the photographer, the stylist, the makeup artist, among assistants and everything. So it can't be, it's not cheap. And then people think, okay, you know what, if I book you, when I tell you a creative shoot may take about 4 to 6 hours, and you're like, oh, well, I'm going to bring a lot of clothes. No, it might be 2 sets, 4 to 6 hours, depending, because you have to get the lighting correctly. You have to get the mood right. You have to get all of that. So I'm trying to, the page is supposed to explain that. And then people are supposed to have like a consultation, because even someone calling me, telling me, you know what, I want to create a shoot. You come up with the concept. That's money. Right. That's me having to think about it. And some people will be like, oh, can we talk about it? And then I'll see if I can book. No. Why would I give you my ideas without, knowing if you're going to book me and you take it elsewhere? So it's a 100%. Lot.
And then you take it elsewhere and they do a better job than what you would have done. Right. It's a pain. No, I understand completely. And something that I struggle with as well, it's being able to explain that to somebody without, with them understanding how much effort it is. Like, it's very difficult for me to do that. And I do my best to break it down, either through message or on the phone, but sometimes it just doesn't come across. They're like, oh, okay, cool. And then you don't get the booking. It's rough. It's definitely not easy. And it's something that I hear from a lot of photographers too, where they just don't know what to charge for themselves and for their work. And then 2, they don't know how to sell, because it takes, we're like you said, we're photographers, we're creatives, but not every creative is a businessman. Right. And that's something that's very hard for most creatives to understand, is that you got to play both roles. You have to be a creative person, but you have to understand that you also need to make a living from this.
Yes.
Was that transition hard for you too? Like, or were you automatically into it? Like,
I haven't transitioned yet. I'm still bad at pricing. I count on my husband or whoever else is there to do it. And even when they tell me that the price is not good, I'll still fight.
Of course.
So it's just, you know, and because I have the studio and there's a lot of photographers who rent it.
Right.
You know, like you have people like Stanlow. I don't know if you ever heard of Stanlow Photography. He shoots wedding. He just did Portia's wedding.
Oh, nice.
You know, when they come and they're looking, it's like, oh my God, what are you doing this to yourself? Like, you know, you just way too low. Uh-huh. And I've had, like, when I first started, there was this photographer who was like, please, for my sake, increase your prices.
100%.
So
100%.
You know, so it's kind of like, but then again, you have your market, and you know, and you, because of the fact that this is your bread and butter, I don't want to just go up and then not be able to make it, because then again, the studio is a big overhead.
100%.
So there's it's still tough for me. Like, I can't be, like I said, that I cannot be behind the desk. Like, I could take the photos, but I don't want to have to deal with the finances or, you know, charging the customers or explaining to them, like people who come late, that, you know, you're supposed to technically, you lost some of your time. So it's not like you're gonna show up 30 minutes late and still get your full hour. You know, you can buy extra time.
Of course.
But it's not part of the deal.
Of course.
And even my extra time is cheap. So
I'm telling you now, raise your rates, please. Please raise your rates. I don't even want to ask you what your rates are, because I'm going to get upset. I know what my rates are. You got to raise your rates, please. No, but it's understanding your value. And I think that's super important for a lot of creatives to hear. It's charge what you're worth. You know, obviously you don't want to murder somebody with rates, right? But you definitely want to be able to make a living from your passion. And it's more than just taking photos.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, the first time I saw you, you shot with Elle.
Okay.
And that's when I found you, because you posted a photo. I'm like, what? Who took that photo? That's what I don't even look at the photos anymore. I'm like, who took it? Right? And I forgot, because you shoot with her a lot.
Yes, I've done a couple of shoots with her.
Yeah. And
there was the Angel one. There was another one where I was messing with lights. So she's one of the models. Sometimes if I have like an idea that popped into my head, I would call her if she's available. And then we just
create.
Just create.
When it comes to working with a model, what do you look for as a photographer, as a creative director? What do you want to expect from your models when you're creating a concept? And then are there anything specific that you look for when it comes to working with someone?
I go for what I feel like I'm weak at. You know, if you know how to pose, you know, because I don't know how to pose models. Like, some photographers will tell you, okay, just get me a model and I'll pose them how I want to. But I kind of want to work with people who know what they're doing, so that I don't have to be coaching. And because a lot of the time I'm just focused on so many other different aspects of the shoot. The coaching part is not, you know, my main focus. It's not something that I'm paying attention to. But then again, after the shoot is done and I start looking at my pictures, then it's kind of like, you know what, oh, this is a missed shot, or, you know, I don't like the way her eyes are in this, they're dead. You know, her posture is good, but I don't like her facial expression. And then you lose a lot of photos like that. But in my little small screen, it looks great. Then that's one of the thing that I'm more interested in. Some shoots, though, if I feel like you just need to be cute, you know, you don't need to do a whole lot, then a cute model.
What's it like? I've never shot families, right? And you've shot for lots of families. What is the difference between shooting a group of people and then shooting like a professional model when it comes to maybe your state of mind? Like, I'm sure you're a lot more patient with a family than you are with a model, right? For example,
families with kids and everything, yes, because then you're gonna get all different facial expressions. I don't like large group, and luckily for me, I've gotten some, but very few. But families of 4, 5, 6, sometimes, yes, I do. Yeah. I prefer one-on-one shoots with models. I guess personalities and everything. I am like a big introvert, and the more people in the room, the more you're gonna see me. You know, like I get tired easily. Like it draws out my energy. Right. So working with one model is kind of like you focus on that one person expression. But when you have a family, you have, like my family shoot, for example. One kid would not smile, the other one starts crying, and then you're trying to get that one picture when everybody is gonna just have at least a decent expression, and it's not happening, and you're just like yelling, okay, you smile, no, your neck is too high, and then
you're across the whole studio trying to with the 105 trying to shoot that.
And then sometimes you're trying to convince, like the older ones, like grandfathers, or grandmas and grandpas, to kind of smile and not look so stiff and serious. So, but in the end, at least, like they said, if they can get one good picture, you'll get that. You'll get a decent one. It's gonna take time.
Yeah. What's your favorite? If you only had one kind of photos to take for the rest of your life, what kind of photos would you do?
I would definitely explore more editorial shoots. That's my thing, because editorial, when I say editorial, it includes concepts.
Right.
And it can include, editorial can be storytelling depending on what you put. So it's kind of like, this is what I really love, I enjoy the most about photography. But right now, there are other things that pays the bill.
Oh, 100%. What's the future look like for you when it comes to this industry? Yeah. More studios?
Well, we probably will have to get more studios, because we didn't buy. We're renting. The rent goes up every year.
Right.
From the time that I've opened the studios, my rent went up by $1,000. Yeah. So, and we didn't go up in the rental price, and my prices are not that up there. And even after it went up, we didn't go up. So we're just absorbing all of these costs. Of course, you have the light bill and everything. So had we owned this spot or the place, then it's just the mortgage, that we have to pay. So eventually, this is something we're definitely going to have to consider. Yeah. Because I don't see us, the rent is going up by at least 6%. And last year, it went up by 15%. Because we were supposedly below market rate or value or something like that. So definitely maybe a bigger studio, something that I can create different things.
Yeah, so you can get the 200 millimeter lens.
No. And I think with that also, it's kind of like, not in the near future, but maybe at some point I'll pick, I'll pick some of my shoots. I'm not going to be as available as I am right now, because I want family time also. I want to slow down sometime because I get tired. So it's going to be maybe coaching, maybe workshops, different things. You never know. Yeah. Yeah.
Coaching sounds fun.
I'm working the courage.
Yeah. What do you think is the hardest part for that? For you doing that?
Like this.
Yeah.
Speaking to a group. So it's not just like a one-on-one. I don't like to be in front of the camera, or at least, when it comes to giving classes, it's not something I've ever done. But I've had photographers who reach out to me and be like, listen, can I come to one of your sessions? At that time, I could show you what to do. But now having a whole group coming and expecting to learn something, it's probably going to hit different.
Definitely. Have you ever gone to a photography workshop before?
No, but I want to. I've had a couple of that happen at the studio. But I haven't gone to one myself.
What were they like? The ones that you've been to, or the ones that you've seen happen?
Well, there are many people. And but it was, of course, it was a lot of good information. You get good information from it.
Definitely.
So, and at some point I had to come in and help them, because, they had to practice what they just learned. So we put up lights for different groups. So it was cool. I think it was about at least 30 people there. So it was cool.
Nice. You ready for yours? 30, 40 people?
No.
Not yet?
No, we're not doing that yet.
What inspires you? Because I have this, you can save posts on Instagram. And so I have 3,000 saved photos, right, from just different photographers. I'm super inspired by just other creative people. And so what inspires you? Do you look at other photographers? Because you mentioned a lot of your culture, when you incorporate that into your work, is there anything else that inspires you to just continue creating? Yeah,
I really like photo shoot that kind of, if I reacted a certain way, emotion, I got an emotional reaction to a post. Yeah. Yes, and then some weird stuff, nothing crazy, but whatever especially when you're placing models and out of place, and then it's kind of okay, how do I editorial type of work? Yeah. But it's more like for example, Lexan, his photos he does engagement, but differently. You know, it's not your typical, hold my hand, I look at you or whatever. It's kind of like he can have you barefoot running with a bicycle, but that's an engagement post.
Right.
But it would be something like you would be doing as you were a kid. And it's not, you're not even dressed. And sometimes an engagement post could be like this, the fiance, I guess, like combing or helping his girlfriend like remove the braids or something like that. So it's just different things, or reading to each other, just laughing or feeding each other, but in basic clothes like you would be at your house.
Yeah.
So it's a different style. So I love that. That's more about, the whole storytelling thing. And other posts that I really look up to, like especially the ones playing with lights. And that's another thing that I'm practicing more. Then I have to practice more with gels, but
I suck at lights. I'm so bad at it. Like I have one strobe light, that's all I can do. I know photographers have 3-4 lights and then they have different colors.
I work mostly with 3, but every now and then if I want to have a different color, then I would just use one light, depending, I move it around. The gel part, I'm getting there.
What's your setup? So you do 3 lights? Like I know people who do headshots have like the 3 lights, right? And
I have the main light and then 2 like to kill the shadows. That's what they said. So
like, that's who said, YouTube?
No, well, yeah.
That's how I learned too. I learned it on YouTube too.
And it works. It kills the shadows, and then you have the main light on the subject. But after that, so it's mostly 3 lights.
Yeah.
But every now and then, if I want something different, I'll just do 1.
Interesting. Like 3, is it 3 constants or 3 strobes?
Strobes.
3 strobes. Cool.
I don't do constant at all.
No?
No.
Mm-mm. All right. I have a speed run. I have a couple questions for you. You got to pick which one you prefer of the options.
Okay.
Okay. Indoor or outdoor?
Indoor.
Natural light or flash? DSLR or film?
DSLR.
Model or family?
Model.
Damn, you're really good at this. You went through the questions so easily. I'm going to write them down for next time. I'm going to have you on the show and just do the speed round. That was quick.
No, because those are the stuff that I've... It's funny, though, because when I started, I said I didn't want to work with models.
Why?
Because when I started, it's kind of like, how... There's a name for it, but I don't remember it right now. But, I didn't feel... Like, I felt like models have worked with better photographers. And if I were to work with a model, they would realize that, she doesn't know what she's doing. So whereas families and people who do not know much about photography...
No one knows what they're doing.
Exactly. So you won't know my weakness or anything. So you just get your pictures and you'll be very happy about it.
Yeah.
So then it was like models may be like, oh, you know what? So-and-so's work is so much better than this one. So, but yeah, it's kind of... But for now... I say models, but really it doesn't even have to be professional. Like we switch from friends that we think who can, give us the vibe that we're looking for versus professional models or people who are trying to get in the model industry and all of that.
You said something interesting. You keep saying the word storytelling, which I love because that's what I'm trying to focus my work more towards. And I think the biggest thing and what I look for now when it comes to shooting with somebody is their ability to convey emotion. Right, with their face. And I think that's super, super hard. Like to express something besides just looking pretty, right? Like, and so that's what I find the most difficult. And again, going with posing and being able to tell a story, you need to be able to be very expressive with your face.
Yes.
Do you know how do you direct emotion? Can you do that? Like,
in some of my shoots, I know what I'm going for. Like, and sometimes it's not pretty. It's not, I don't care if you look pretty, but the expression is going to be something different, like, right. And well, we talk about that. There was one makeup artist I work with, a couple of them, as a matter of fact, they also know about that, and they'll tell you, what, do a sad face, look mad or look something. And I can say that also, like, depending on what I'm doing. Or for me, I think one of the things I tend to say most, just to be safe, it's kind of like try different expression with your face. So start with, happiness, sadness, do different things. And then at the end, I'll pick the one that's my favorite or that, that embodies the whole message.
Interesting.
So when people ask me, do I smile? I'm like, do both, or do different. Do smile, do happy, do sadness, like you're thinking and all of that to give me all of this to work with.
Right.
Yeah.
And you pick the best one out of it.
Exactly.
It's so simple. Like, I make it so hard for myself. You make it so easy. What do you think you're the best at in your industry? What do you do, like, that you dominate in this area of photography?
I don't know about dominating. I mean, but I just, right now I feel like, okay, you know what? I've gotten very strong at designing my sets or what I want to do. Yeah.
Yes. 100%. 1000%. I'm going to have you design the whole studio for me because you did one with do not cross the tape, with all yellow set, right? And I'm here in my head, like, how does she do that? And then you had like the girl cover that, and she was part of the set with it. And I don't. Were you bored that day too, or?
No, some stuff I actually take my time to think about. But the tapes, really, if I said tape, that means I don't,
So if I see tape, I know you were bored. What's your funnest set that you've created, or the one that got you the one that people love the most?
If I have to base it on Instagram, I would say there are a couple of shoots, but I think the one where I'm doing the water reflections or
that
the
was
Mylar,
really cool. Yeah,
a lot of people are talking about those.
Yeah, and so can you walk me through? Because you made me buy the Mylar. I asked you. I said, "Hey, what is this?" And I have it on here. I haven't used it yet though. I don't know how to use it.
To me, it's easy. You just have to find like the right angle, and it has to be shot with direct light. So that's one thing I learned. But and then I like to have it so that the model is as close to it as possible. So most of the Mylar shoot, you'll see the model sitting on the floor or lying down because the reflection is better than that. If you're standing up, then you get
not gonna get reflection. For the people who don't know, can you explain what Mylar is?
Mylar is this reflective paper. That's all I can say because that's what I look for. When I saw it on a photographer's page, and I went to Amazon and I looked for highly reflective paper. It looks like aluminum foil, but it's a lot stronger than aluminum foil. And it's a roll it comes in a roll.
Yeah, I thought it was wrapping paper when I saw it.
Yeah, well, I think it looks like it, but it's stronger than that. And it's just, for me, I saw that it gave like a water reflection, a water-like reflection. So I was like, okay, you know what? This is something different. Let's try it.
But yours came out blue. Was that post that you made it? Or did you have like the blue background and then the
backdrop? So at the time, it was me doing a lot of monochromatic shoots. So I had bought this blue satin like cloth, and I wanted to just do monochromatic blue, but I couldn't find blue props. So it was kind of like, okay, you know what, let's just use this on blue. And then it looked like water, but then we've used it with black, white, like different ones. People would pick their color. I don't post all of it, but people love it.
No, I loved it too. It was amazing. I was looking through, I made a post last week. And when I was making the post, I'm like, people are going to love this picture. It's the best picture I've ever taken in my life. It's awesome. And it got like 100 likes and like 2 comments, right? And so I hated myself. Like, I haven't posted in like a week and a half because I was very upset. Does that ever happen to you?
All the time.
Yeah. Like, I get so upset. Like, I'm like,
no, I don't get upset.
No? I get upset with myself almost. Like, maybe I'm not as good as I think I am.
Not you. I've been told so many times it's the algorithm. So I just blame it on the algorithm, Yeah. So, and I try, and something might work really, really well on TikTok, but not on IG. I've never gone viral on IG, but it's okay. One day.
Hopefully. Please, photography, gods.
But I don't pay attention to, of course, sometimes there's a little bit of disappointment. Like, oh, I wish this would have been so much better. But then again, I have I have 2 pages that I post on. I have the studios page and then my page. So sometimes it flops on both. Sometimes it picks up on one and not the other. But in the end, I'm like, okay, next time.
Well, yeah, that's all you can do. And you're on TikTok?
I am.
Do you prefer TikTok over Instagram?
No. But I've gone viral on TikTok.
Yeah? What?
It's easier for me to go. I had one of my posts that reached 1 million views and a couple of ones that are like very close. But I was doing smoke bomb shoots.
Okay.
And they actually do really well on TikTok. And the Mylar is doing okay too. But I don't have one that I prefer over the other. Well, I prefer IG.
Really?
Because I still like to post my own pictures. The video part is nice, but just to have the picture there, for me to decide when I'm gonna, get out of it. I could look at it, I could save it, I could do this. So I like to have that. So, and then IG pays better.
IG pays better? That's what you're not the only person to mention that TikTok is definitely great for views and great to go viral, but they don't pay anything. Like
I've made, I think, $50 on TikTok from December until now.
December of last year? Mm-hmm. Wow, you can pay like a lot of stuff with that.
IG, it's at least 10 times or more, of that. Yeah. So it's easier for me to make money with Reels than I can do on TikTok. Yeah. Of course, I think TikTok would work best if you were, if I had like 1 million followers and stuff like that. But I'm not there yet. So I like IG in that sense.
I know we spoke before the cameras were rolling about YouTube, like YouTube. Mm-hmm. For sure. Like that's gonna be your next investment.
Yeah, YouTube. I think the reason why I stayed away from YouTube for so long is because YouTube required me to sit behind a lens myself. Right. Versus TikTok and IG. I'm like, okay, let's plan a shoot, do like a recording of the model and just post that. I don't have to be in there. Yeah. But YouTube is gonna require a little bit more work from me. But I think, I'm open to the idea now.
You have to. You're so funny. I've been laughing the entire podcast. Please get on YouTube. And it's okay. I have a to-do list for you, right? You gotta raise your rates at least double, right? You gotta get on YouTube. Okay.
My people are not gonna like you for this one. It's my people.
Let them not like me. It's cool. What else? Yeah, raise your rates again. All of that. All of it. No, I'm really I'm so happy. And I want to thank you again so much for coming to the show. And I know we tried to do it a couple of times and just schedules and everything, but I had a really good time and you showed me a lot and you're funny and you're super creative and you're very, very talented. So I'm excited for people to see this and engage with you and all of that.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
It was a pleasure being here. This is my first podcast.
You did amazing.
A video podcast. I didn't know what to do or what to expect.
You did amazing.
But that's great.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming. And before we get off, where can people find you on social media?
So I am on Instagram. It's Maybeline Photography. I don't know if I should spell it.
Sure.
Okay. It's Maybeline Photography. PH.
I'm sure they got the photography.
So it's Maybeline like the makeup with one L. So that's easy. And I also have my studios page, which is Pic City Studio. Pic City is PIXCITY Studio.
Okay.
And TikTok is Pic City Studio also. And Facebook is Maybeline Photography and Pic City Studio. And the YouTube I just created is Maybeline Photography with 0 posts on there.
So far.
We're going up. We're gonna do that.
There we go. I love it. Thank you so much again, and thank you.
All right, thank you.